What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trivia. This week we're doing another archetype and we're doing the Raidraptors. So Raidraptor is an archetype of dark, winged beast type monsters used by Kurosaki in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 anime and manga. They made their real life debut in Secrets of Eternity. Raidraptor monsters resemble various genus and species of birds of prey, except with a mechanized and weapon-clad appearance. The level 4 monsters, apart from Necro Vulture, are based on the LANIUS, a genus of passerine birds in the Shrike family, while the members based on vultures and strixes cover a wide range of levels and ranks. FYI, a strike is a genus of earless owls. Most of the extra deck monsters are based on falcons, and the level 3 and rank 3 monsters are based on eagles. All Raidraptor monsters display the Raidraptor crest somewhere on their bodies. Can you spot them all? So let's start things off with all the standard monsters. Raidraptor Last STRIX. His effect is if a Raidraptor monster you control battles while you have any spell or trap cards on your field or in your graveyard during damage calculation in either player's turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. You gain 100 life points for each spell and trap card you control and in your graveyard. You contribute this card, your opponent takes no battle damage this turn. Also, you can special summon one Raidraptor Xyz monster from your extra deck in defense position, but its effects are negated. Also, return it to the extra deck during the end phase. You can only use the effect of Raidraptor Last STRIX once per turn. Raidraptor Pain LANIUS cannot be used as an Xyz material for an Xyz summon, except for the Xyz summon of a winged beast type monster. If this card is in your hand, you can target one Raidraptor monster you control that has a level, take damage equal to its attack and defense, whichever is lower, but your choice if tied. And if you do, special summon this card. And if you do that, this card's level becomes the current level of the targeted monster. You can only use the effect of Raidraptor Pain LANIUS once per turn. As well, this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor Avenge Vulture. His effect is if you take damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Raidraptor monsters. Raidraptor Booster STRIX. When a Raidraptor monster you control is targeted for an attack by an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from your hand, destroy the attacking monster. Now for the Raidraptor with my favourite name, Raidraptor Fuzzy LANIUS. If you control a Raidraptor monster other than Raidraptor Fuzzy LANIUS, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Raidraptor Fuzzy LANIUS from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Raidraptor Fuzzy LANIUS once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate either of the card's effects, except Raidraptor monsters. This monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Chain Lock and Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor Mimicry LANIUS. His effect is once per turn during your main phase. If this card was normal or special summoned this turn, you can increase the level of all Raidraptor monsters you currently control by 1. During your main phase, if this card in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can banish this card, add one Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand, except Mimicry LANIUS. Can use the effect of Mimicry LANIUS once per turn. Raidraptor Napalm Dragonius. Once per turn, you can inflict 600 damage to your opponent. Also, monsters in your possession can activate their effects for the rest of the turn, except Raidraptor monsters. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Raidraptor monster from your deck, but it has its effects negated. Now, this monster's pose in the OCG artwork is very similar to a mirrored version of Curse of Dragonfire. Raidraptor Necro Vulture. Once per turn, you contribute one Raidraptor monster, then target one rank up magic spell card in your graveyard. Add it to your hand. Also, you cannot Xyz summon for the rest of this turn, except with the effect of rank up magic spell card. And this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor Sharp LANIUS. Once per turn during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can target one face-up attack position monster on the field. Change it to face-up defense position. During your main phase 2, if this card attacks this turn, you can target one Raidraptor monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect of Raidraptor Sharp LANIUS once per turn. Fun fact, this card's OCG name, Impale LANIUS, is a hint at the behaviour of birds in the LANIUS genus, as they are known for their habit of catching insects and small vertebrates and impaling their bodies on thorns. Pretty cool. This monster also appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor, Singing LANIUS. If you control a face-up Xyz monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Raidraptor, Singing LANIUS once per turn this way. Now, this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Blockchain, Raidraptor Desperate, Raidraptor's Replica, and Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor Skull Eagle. If this card is detached from an Xyz monster and sent to the graveyard to activate the monster's effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Raidraptor card in your grave, add it to your hand. You can only use the effect of Raidraptor Skull Eagle once per turn. An Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field as an Xyz material gains this effect. It gains 300 attack. Raidraptor Tribute LANIUS. During your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can send one Raidraptor card from your deck to the graveyard. During your main phase 2, this card destroyed an opponent's monster by battle this turn, you can add one rank up magic, quick play spell card from your deck to your hand. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Raidraptor monsters, and you can only use the effect of each Raidraptor Tribute LANIUS once per turn. And this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Raidraptor Vanishing LANIUS. Once per turn during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster from your hand. As well, this monster too appears in Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. And finally, Raidraptor Wild Vulture. His effect is, during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can tribute this card, special summon 2 Raidraptor monsters from your hand, or graveyard whose total levels equals 6. Moving on to the Xyz monsters, Raidraptor Fiend Eagle. This monster requires 2 level 3 Raidraptor monsters. His effect is you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one face-up special summon monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack on the field. You can only use this effect of Raidraptor Fiend Eagle once per turn. Raidraptor Blade Burner Falcon. This monster requires 2 level 4 Winged Beast type monsters. If this card is Xyz summoned and your opponent's life points is at least 3,000 higher than yours, you can make this card gain 3,000 attack. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can detach any number of Xyz materials from this card, destroy exactly that number of monsters your opponent controls. This card's pose comes from the Yugioh Arc 5 Scale 6 Feeling Alive, specifically from the panel showing this monster being summoned. Raidraptor Force STRIX. This monster requires 2 level 4 monsters. Its effect is this card gains 500 attack and defense for each Winged Beast type monster you control other than this card. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, add a level 4 Dark Winged Beast type monster from your deck to your hand. A STRIX is another name for a Strigidae, the scientific name for true owls or typical owls. A STRIX is also a type of mythological owl that are said to bring ill omens, which feed on blood and human flesh. And this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Blockchain. Fun fact, in Japan, this card, Perform Pult Pendulum Sorcerer, DDD Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok, Fright Furs Tiger, Super Heavy Samurai Ogre Shuten Doji, and High Speed Roid Kendama were printed with different card sizes. Due to this issue, a duelist card protector was used for these cards instead of a card sleeve for the official tournament. Raidraptor Rise Falcon. This monster requires 3 level 4 Winged Beast type monsters. His effect is this card can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card and target one face-up special summon monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to that monster's current attack. Now, this card is actually Kurosaki's signature monster. In the anime, this is the first card that can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls, and only them by its own effect. And when this monster activates effect while the opponent controls at least 2 monsters, it is sheathed in an enormous cloak of flames, during which time it resembles the Winged Dragon of Ra in Phoenix mode, along with its potentially field clearing ability. So this monster represents the rise stage of a rebellion. This is further supported by its effect and low attack, which reflects crippling a minor asset connected to a large oppressive order to symbolize and install hope. In addition, as a further reference, whenever this monster is summoned, the opponent often underestimates it due to its low attack, only to quickly be overwhelmed by its effects. And this monster appears in the artwork of Raidraptor Rapid Xyz. Raidraptor Stranger Falcon. This monster requires 2 level 5 monsters. If this card has an Xyz monster as an Xyz material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. If this card card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one Raidraptor Xyz monster in your graveyard, except Raidraptor Stranger Falcon, special summon it, and if you do, attach this card to it as an Xyz material. Raidraptor Blaze Falcon requires 3 level 5 Winged Beast type monsters. This card can attack directly while it's an Xyz material. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, destroy as many special summon monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. Now, this monster represents the warfare stage of a rebellion. In this stage, it gains tactical advantages through sneak attacks or destroying massive essential assets and leaving nothing to salvage. This is supported by its 2 effects, either allowing it to attack directly, being the sneak attack, or destroying all special summon monsters, which are typically very powerful and inflicting damage, which represents the destruction of vital assets. Raidraptor Revolution Falcon, requiring 3 level 6 Winged Beast type monsters. His effect is you can detach one Xyz material from this card. This turn, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's face-up special summon monster, this monster's attack and defense becomes 0. If this card is a Raidraptor Xyz monster as an Xyz material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of the monster on the field. Now, this monster represents the final push and revolutionary attack in the final stage of a rebellion. This is supported by its effect, which allows it to weaken any special summon monsters in battle, attack all monsters the opponent has, and destroy a monster individually and inflict half of its attack as damage. These are reminiscent of the destruction of any remaining assets that have weakened foundation, ruling out any allied parties, and the final destruction of what could be the force that's orchestrating everything. In the anime, this was the first Xyz monster to be summoned both through rank up and through the normal Xyz summoning method. If summoned by the ranking up, the background is blazing. If normally Xyz summoned, it becomes purple with purple lightning sparking. Despite its name, this monster more closely resembles a secretary bird than a falcon, and this monster has the highest defense of all Winged Beast type monsters, tied with Shino Baroness Peacock. Raidraptor Revolution Falcon Air Raid, requiring 3 level 6 Winged Beast type monsters. His effect is you can also Xyz summon this card by discarding one rank up magic spell card, then using a rank 5 or lower Raidraptor Xyz monster you control as the Xyz material. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack it had on the field. If this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Raidraptor Revolution Falcon from your extra deck, and if you do, attach this card to it as an Xyz material. So this card is a retrained version of Raidraptor Revolution Falcon. Its effect to destroy a monster upon being Xyz summoned is more of a faithful mirror to how Revolution Falcon's effect worked when it was ranked up into the anime. Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon, requiring 2 level 7 monsters. Its effect is once per turn you can detach one Xyz material from this card, special summon one level 4 Winged Beast type monster from your deck, and if this card has a Raidraptor monster as an Xyz material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Xyz materials attached to it. If this card is sent to the graveyard while it has a Raidraptor monster as an Xyz material, you can special summon one Raidraptor Xyz monster from your extra deck, except Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon, and if you do, attach this card from the graveyard to that Xyz monster as an Xyz material. Raidraptor Fuzzy LANIUS, Pain LANIUS, Sharp LANIUS, Singing LANIUS, Tribute LANIUS, and Vanishing LANIUS all appear in this card's artwork, and this monster appears to be based on airborne aircraft carriers. Raidraptor Satellite Cannon Falcon. This monster requires 2 level 8 Winged Beast type monsters. If this card is Xyz summoned using a Raidraptor monster as a material, you can destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate card or effects in response to this effect's activation, and during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 800 attack for each Raidraptor monster in your graveyard. This monster shares some similarities to the monster Satellite Cannon. Both have similar names, and when attacking in the various anime, they appear in the stratosphere. The attack sequence of Satellite Cannon Falcon is similar to that of Bahamut Zero from Final Fantasy VII. Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon requires 3 level 10 Winged Beast type monsters. It's unaffected by other cards, and you can detach one Xyz material from this card. For the rest of the turn, all monsters your opponent controls will lose 1000 attack. Also, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. If this card is a Raidraptor monster as an Xyz material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, during the end phase, you can make all monsters your opponent controls lose 1000 attack. If your opponent controls no face-up monsters, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. And finally, Raidraptor Final Fortress FALCON. This monster requires 3 level 12 monsters. While this card has a Raidraptor, Xyz monster as an Xyz material is unaffected by other card effects. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, return all of your banished Raidraptor monsters to the graveyard. Up to twice per turn, when this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, you can banish 1 Raidraptor monster from your graveyard. This card can then attack again in a row. So this card has the highest attack and rank of all Winged Beast type monsters. This monster's appearance mimics that of the boss monster Emerald Weapon from the Final Fantasy VII series, albeit its colour scheme is more reminiscent of that of Ruby Weapon, another boss from the same game. Interestingly enough, this card's name, Final Fortress, shares the same initials of the Final Fantasy franchise, FF. And with that, guys, that's another archetype done. Sorry there wasn't as much trivia on these guys, but I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. We've got a very topical character coming out on Friday for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. You can probably guess who it is based on today's episode. But other than that, guys, don't forget to leave the video a like, and thanks for watching.